I predict that Diddy will not go to prison. I hate to break it to you. We've teased this before when we covered the Diddy trial. I'm now going to make a prediction. Again, I'm not the best at predictions.
I'm making one too, Jimmy.
But
My psychic powers.
Kurt's making a prediction. But I was right when I predicted what the Comey report would say. So there's certain things I'm right about. I predicted Russiagate would fizzle out into nothing. It did. I predicted that.
Wait, Mueller report you meant.
The Mueller report. I predicted the Mueller report would say there's no evidence of Trump's conspiracy with Russia, which is what it is. It's a conspiracy charge, not a collusion charge. They just said that so all the people pushing Russiagate wouldn't be called conspiracy theorists. They're collusion theorists. Okay. So here's another one of those. I predict that Diddy will not go to prison. This is my prediction. I could be wrong. Again, this is just, but why do I say it? Mike Benz, you know the guy, he says, falling asleep thinking about how James Comey's daughter, you know, the most corrupt FBI chief we've had since J. Edgar Hoover, how James Comey's daughter is still at the Department of Justice.
Thanks, Pam Bondi.
Yeah. Thanks.
Great work, Pam Bondi.
So this at the most corrupt section of the Department of Justice. Which section is that? The one where Epstein hung himself, that department, the Southern District of New York. And
like Kash Patel's theory that he hung himself.
And so they have all the secrets. Yeah, that's right. And now Kash Patel is going along with that theory that Epstein hung himself. They just
paid him cash to say that.
Yeah, wouldn't it? Isn't it just weird they don't have videotape of it? In the most high profile prisoner in that whole place. In probably
somebody has it.
In I don't know, ever. Their most high profile prisoner ever. They don't have a camera on them. They have a camera on everybody else. And Kash Patel is here to tell you that the establishment theory that he hung himself is correct. I can't believe I still don't have that video to show you.
In the only not spied on place on the face of the earth.
The only not spied on place.
Cell.
That's where they put Epstein.
The only privacy in all the land. It should be a skiff where they could be debriefed on top secret things. You go to Epstein's cell.
Yes.
And they can tell you about our spaceships we got.
That's right. So here it is. Ghislaine Maxwell, lead prosecutor, joins the Diddy trial. That was from December 3rd. So nobody talked about it then. Mike Benz tweeted it out today. And here's even Kyle Becker says, reminder, Moren Comey, the daughter of former FBI director James Comey. By the way, the most corrupt FBI director since J. Edgar Hoover.
Mueller was corrupt.
Mueller was up. They're all corrupt. I'm just saying the most. They're all corrupt.
Well.
You don't get to the top of the slimiest pole in Washington, D.C. without being corrupt. So she was a prosecutor on the Epstein case and is now a prosecutor in the Diddy case. There has been no justice for the victims in the Epstein case, and almost no arrests made in either of these high-profile cases.
Yeah.
So the only arrest made with Epstein was Epstein and Ghislaine, and we're supposed to. And Steph has very big suspicions of whether Ghislaine's even in prison. Is she? Why aren't people interview? They used to interview Manson in prison all the time, but they're not interviewing Ghislaine every 5 seconds.
They did interview her since then, didn't they? I thought I saw where she's behind the thing.
Is there one? Well,
yeah.
Okay.
Or
so
she just in front of a green screen.
So they did do one.
I don't know.
They did one. I'm just saying it's. I would not be surprised to find out Ghislaine. Would you be surprised to find out she's not in prison, Kurt?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to find out we had a breakaway society with space travel and Nazis with lizards and stuff. So no, but her being alive is like keep your trap shut and your time's going to be real easy.
Yeah.
And if you do a lot of interviews, it's not going to be good for you. It could be that.
It could be that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's Kyle Becker reminding us there's no justice for the victims, almost no arrests made in either of these high-profile cases. So none of right. So let's remember they're prosecuting Russell Brand, but not Prince Andrew. Think about that.
Yeah.
And nobody involved in the Epstein case. Ghislaine's the only one prosecuted. That's it. And I think that was a show trial. So because you got to get somebody.
The other guy died. Tragically, the other guy committed suicide as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Does Kash Patel know that? I don't know. Maybe they were bullied to death, I guess.
So just keep that in mind. There's no bigger criminal in the United States than James Comey. None. And there's his daughter, also a very suspicious deep state actor. Isn't that funny? And so
they got a great picture of her too, by the way. Yeah, really.
That's it. That captures her. I predict. So based on this, there's going to be something. Diddy might have to do some kind of time. He might have to do some, but it's not going to be what you think, because we were already suspect of this case. And I already saw other people, lawyers with YouTube shows, saying that, yeah, it looks like they're prosecuting this in a way to make sure he gets off.
Of course they are. I said yesterday, I would go, well, okay, here are all his gross sex life details, none of which is illegal, by the way. If you're into weird shit like that. Where's all the network of people that he was working with? Where's the stuff Jonathan Oddie talked about? The drug smuggling, the baby oil.
Who cares?
I was waiting to hear about what drugs were in the bottles of baby oil.
Yeah.
Besides just baby oil, that went away. There's nothing about.
Yeah. So they're rubbing
a lot
baby.
Of strange things.
You're saying there weren't drugs in that baby oil they were putting out each.
They're not talking about it now. Suddenly, I'm just he liked everybody to have a lot of baby oil on them all the time. And if people look dry, he go freshen up their baby oil.
So is she the cooler installed to legitimize a phony investigation and prosecution? Is that what that is?
Of course, she's overseeing to make sure they don't get it done. Just like James Comey's job was to run interference for the Clintons. Remember Hillary's email thing that I think is a limited hangout?
Of course,
after you taught me that. Yeah, was to like make it look like he's kind of fair, so we went after Trump.
That's right. James Comey was the guy who said we found over 100 instances of Hillary Clinton having classified information on her private server, but we're not going to. He goes, this might sound going to be funny. So it might sound funny. I'm not going to prosecute her.
Oh yeah, that's limited hangout. That's what that word means.
And then he goes on to be the central figure in framing the president of the United States as a traitor to our country, working with Russia.
And then he wrote 8647 on his Facebook, and now he's under investigation.
We're gonna cover that. But here is Suge Knight from prison. By the way,
is this recent?
No, this is from I think last December.
Oh, okay.
So here's Suge Knight. Let's listen. He's talking to Cuomo.
Okay. Okay, but you had a guy named Tubby used to work for Interscope.
Guy named Tubby used to work for Interscope.
Not Cuddy, it's Tubby.
Oh, it sounded like Tubby to me. Let's listen.
Tubby to me.
Okay. Okay, but you had a guy named Tubby.
Yeah,
used to
Tubby.
work for Interscope.
Tubby.
This guy's job was to bring underage girls and girls to have sex with employees and other artists.
So this guy, Tubby, who worked for Interscope, his job was to get underage girls, not girls, underage girls, to have sex with other artists and employees. Okay.
To the point where his friend got caught up with the same thing. How they raided Puppy House for sex trafficking, they raided his friend house for sex trafficking.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
He never went.
Boy, the prison phones are like a tight casino comedy set. Give it to a minute.
Lawyers.
Sure. Can you say something? Can you say
when
something
you really
positive?
look at the whole situation,
because you only got.
Everything I'm saying is positive. And I got to hand him a call right back.
All right, Suge, you call back. Do you think?
Like that.
Do you think that Diddy?
He can do so.
Do you think Diddy knows enough that it's a very delicate balance that maybe investigators will want to know these other names and greatly reduce his exposure to criminality to time versus what people would do to keep him quiet?
Number one, I've been knowing him a long time, and we was friends. We're not enemies, but we were friends. He's not a dummy, so he's smart enough to work his magic. On top of that, this man right here, he been involved with the FBI and most of his career. He got powerful people. one of his partners who started his company with drug money, President Obama, got him out of prison. So it's not like he don't have no moves. So I don't think nobody should just count him out. I don't think he gonna lay down and just crawl in the corner and die. He probably going through a lot of shit right now because he probably going through a lot of withdrawals for the drugs. But the industry got him on drugs. My artist, one of the worst mistakes I could have made was protecting my artist is doing a deal at Interscope. When my artist used to pull up in Valet, the Murdoch building, they'd get out, they'd smell like weed. When they clothes smell like weed. When they made it to any office, it would smell like weed. Those guys, for my artists, they introduced cocaine to my artists. So once they got on cocaine, once they got on drugs, once they got on alcohol, and that's when the weird stuff happened. And I think that's what took Buffy down that lane. Then you got to remember, Clyde Davis, Russell Simmons, Andre Arell.
Simon, come on.
You better believe it. Alcohol, drugs. He compromised his manhood. Because he was taught that. He got Usher as a kid. They never recorded no songs, but alcohol, drugs,
Simon.
sex. Justin Bieber. And see, they do these things to take control. They're not doing, there's nothing wrong with being gay. If you choose to be gay, that's your preference. But they're doing this to people for control. It's a power situation.
He's naming a lot of names. Nobody else arrested in this case.
Yep.
So just like the Maxwell case, they got the fixer, the cooler in there, Comey's daughter. No, so maybe Diddy will go to prison. Maybe.
I don't think he's going to.
I say the money is
to get the network.
Just like
and we're not gonna.
What's that?
The main thing was to get the network, and we're not going to get them.
Right.
That's there to be protected. And he brought up a good point. You got to think of it like a mafia operation. So how's the mafia run whores? They get girls addicted to narcotics.
Yes.
That's how you control the whores. And that's what showbiz is. It's a thing for whores. That's why your friends that in Hollywood are like because they're paid whores. It's real easy. You just got to compromise somebody with something and you can control them. And it goes back like Clive Davis. All the record history was the mafia related. The mafia ran all the records. So Clive Davis has been probably an FBI informant for years. Diddy's dad was an FBI informant. That's why Frank Lucas had him killed. He's got family ties to the FBI, just like Moren Comey, of being snitches and being in that world. So they have these networks built up, and they don't want to let go of them.
So Suge was just saying that Diddy's got moves to make.
Of course.
Yeah. So here now, and so it's so definitely this whole investigation and prosecution is scammy, very scammy. And here's just for fun. Just to let you know, remember that you had that recording as your ringtone of
No, what I had was so much worse than what this is. I had Meek Mill and him. It was a real downer to listen. I thought it'd be funny, and it was, but then it got to be too much quickly. They're not making love in that recording, Jimmy.
Right.
What they're doing is not making love.
That's not making love. And that was Diddy and Meek Mill.
Yeah, it sounds like the lady who fell out of the grape tub from that grape stomping viral
Yes,
video.
yeah. It was.
He makes that noise.
Like he just had the wind knocked out of him. Yeah. It was allegedly Diddy and Meek Mill. But here is what Suge Knight. Here's one of the things. This is just for kicks. This reminds me of my friends when they would pledge fraternities in college.
Okay. They used to have these guys. They used to call it the boiled egg test.
The boiled egg test. They used to have these guys, and it was called the boiled egg test. Here we go.
They could take a boiled egg, a raw boiled egg, and have those guys put their pants down and bend over and they stick it up their ass. The eggs break, they say they're not ready yet. They ain't put enough work in. This is Hollywood.
This is Hollywood.
So everybody want to go act like they don't know what's going on.
Hold on a second.
But
Suge.
you just look.
Suge.
Hold on. Suge.
Yeah, we're gonna watch Chris Cuomo pretend he never heard of this test right now.
Yeah.
I have never heard of anything like that. So if I haven't heard about it, just assume a lot of people haven't heard that before. But you think it's on video?
Let's stop for a second.
Go ahead, Suge.
Yeah. Okay. I used to have a joke in my first Comedy Central special. I did that joke about I could have been in a frat if I'd have just held that egg in my ass 8 seconds longer.
Where had you heard of that before?
Where have I heard of it? I went to
Frats.
college.
Well, I heard of the egg thing. From
You ever heard of the elephant walk?
Yeah.
Okay. Where have you heard of that? You ever hear of the pita bread test?
I heard of Ookie Cookie.
Well, that's it. That's where
I like how just one thing they just rename a lot.
Yeah, where the pledges get in a circle and they have a pita bread, and then they have to finish on the bread, and the last guy to finish has to eat the bread.
Yeah, well, that's to prove your loyalty.
Yeah,
and that's the price is your manhood, and what they want is for you to psychologically have been like whatever your little manhood in you that makes you not do the thing the group does. They want that broken. So there's lots of ways to do it, and some are more extreme than others. Put it that way. But the coke aspect, once you get, I don't know if you ever met any long-term cokeheads, they get real depraved, like real depraved.
You know what's funny to me is that they're so when I was in college, this was in the 80s, they would have that, that was when I wrote that egg joke or came up with it. But they're still doing that today with the prices of eggs.
Wait. Only if you go to a good school. Only if you're in Ivy League school.
Okay.
We can't afford college. We can't even afford the hazing of a good college.
Hey, I'm getting older. I don't like to read. You could see it. Look at my hair. You could see it. And what the thing is, stuff starts to hurt for no reason as you get older. I wake up in the morning, and it's like, ow. My shoulder. What did I do last night? Oh, I waved goodbye. It's my own fault. Should have warmed up. Well, guess what? We have a thing called Qualia Senolytic. It's the first of its kind formula designed to help your body naturally eliminate senescent cells. What? Tell me more, Jimmy. Okay. Senolytics are a science field revolutionizing human aging. That's why I started out with that story. A big culprit behind the middle-aged feeling, which I have, can be senescent cells, a.k.a. they're called zombie cells that linger in your body after their useful function, wasting your energy and resources. The accumulation of zombie cells can lead to less energy, slower workout recovery, joint discomfort, and basically just feeling old. Here's how it works. You take the Qualia, you take it just 2 days a month, helping your body naturally eliminate zombie cells to age better at the cellular level. Experience the science of feeling younger. Go to quallife.com/door for up to 50% off your purchase and use code DOOR for an additional 15% off. I'm not a math surgeon. That's 65% off. That's quallife.com. That's QUALIALIFE.com/door for an extra 15% off your purchase. Your older self will thank you. And thanks to Qualia for sponsoring this episode. Come see us live in Los Angeles, Buffalo, Toledo, Montreal, Ottawa, Glasgow, Manchester, Belfast, Dublin, London, Liverpool, Birmingham. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.